Hey Cougs, welcome to the first episode of CoogsTalk. My name is Cullen Watkins, and here with me today I have AJ and Blessing, and they're here ready to discuss the hottest sports takes. How are y'all doing today?
Man, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've never been asked that before.
I'm doing pretty good too. Ready to see talk sports with my boy Blessing. We'll see what he's on. If he's says some controversial stuff, I'm gonna check him. So,
Boom.
yeah,
We're about to find out because we're starting off with the NFL. All right. For the
get
past,
to it.
let's say 3 weeks about now, it has taken up at least my life. I'm sure y'all's too.
Absolutely.
Same.
What were some of the highs that y'all saw from this past weekend of play, either from teams or from players? The highs.
I think the highs, the Buffalo Bills right now, they're definitely looking like the Super Bowl favorites right now. Josh Allen is also the MVP favorite. They were able to pull in Von Miller from the Rams this offseason. Then also the Philadelphia Eagles, they look great. They had a dominating win against the Vikings. Even though the Cowboys suffered a big loss in week 1, they had a crazy win against the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl last year. That's controversial, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's week 2 right now. It's very early. You have a 17-game regular season. A lot of things are going on. Also, the Ravens and Dolphins played against each other. The Dolphins had a huge comeback. Tua Tagovailoa, he's been criticized a lot. A lot of people call him a game manager, and there's been a lot of pressure put on him because he was picked over Justin Herbert in the 2020 draft. But he had 469 passing yards, 6 touchdowns against the Ravens. So I think that was a really impressive win. They have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill on that team now. So we'll see how things go. And then one more game as well, I forgot to mention, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals. Man, Kyler Murray, the first 6 quarters they played, the first game against the Chiefs, he looked bad. And then the first half against the Raiders, he looked bad. But in the second half, they really turned things up. They played overtime, and they won the game in impressive fashion. He had 2 crazy 2-point conversions. So I think it was really impressive, that game for sure. And, yeah, just a lot of things going on. But right now it's early, but those are some of the highs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that Ravens and Dolphins game, if you had one of those guys on your fantasy team, you're going to be pretty happy going into this week. What about some of the lows from this week?
I'm just going to start off with the Bengals. I already knew that run last year was a fluke. That game against the Cowboys, week 1 was already bad enough. You lost to Mitchell Trubisky. That man was out the league for a couple of years, being a backup to Josh Allen, I believe. And now he's out here looking like the second coming of Tom Brady against y'all. That's unacceptable, dog. Unacceptable. That defense carried the Steelers. Block kicks, TJ Watt dominant. 7 sacks on them. Joe Burrow threw 3 picks in the first half. And then week 2, you think they want to come out with a bang against the Cowboys who lost Dak Prescott. But no, they can't even score 20 points. Can't even score 20 points against the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is out there looking like Lawrence Taylor. They sacked this guy 6 times. He couldn't throw 200 yards. Only had 1 touchdown. Really embarrassing. And then Jamar Chase talking that talk about Trevon Diggs, only to go out there and get locked
Didn't do
up.
anything.
Only 2 catches on Trevon Diggs the whole game. Didn't even have a single touchdown. Just embarrassing fashion, if I'm being honest. So I knew it was a fluke last year. And now this year, look at what's happening. You know, 0-2, first 2 losses against teams that might not even make the playoffs this year because of the injuries, obviously. And now the second low, I gotta say, Kirk Cousins. Dog. Trash, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. One of the biggest chokers in the NFL. 3 picks against the Eagles. I mean, I understand the Eagles' defense is dominant. Darius Slade, shout out to my boy over there, holding it down. Shout out to Jalen Hurts as well. He's playing well, but unacceptable loss. One of the worst Monday Night Football quarterbacks in the NFL. I believe he's 1-10 on Monday Night Football. Doesn't show up in big games whatsoever. You've had some of the best weapons in the league. Can you imagine if Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers played with Justin Jefferson? If they played with Dalvin Cook? If they played with Adam Thielen? If they played with Kyle Rudolph? They had a running back duo of Dalvin Cook and Cordell Patterson. Did nothing with it last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, definitely one of the most mid quarterbacks in the NFL. And I gotta say, overpaid as hell. This guy, his agent, that guy is legendary. Legendary for getting him max contracts back-to-back times. Insane. I just can't believe it, honestly. And the last thing I want to say, I can't believe the Browns. The Browns. What a loss. What a collapse. To the Jets? You know, every year I go into the season, I'm like, who's going to be the worst teams in the NFL? The Jets. They got to be the Jets,
Jaguars,
Lions,
Jaguars.
Jaguars. I can't believe they smoked the Colts the way they did.
The Colts look terrible.
But the
right
Browns,
now.
the fact that the Browns are blaming Nick Chubb for scoring, insane. if you can't stop them from scoring 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes to Joe Flacco, you deserve to lose. Straight up.
Joe Flacco is the definition of mid.
Nah,
he hasn't been great.
That's
since
not even mid. That's garbage. That's hot garbage.
He hasn't been relevant in 10 years when they run the Super Bowl with the Ravens. So, yeah. You said something about the Bengals. I mean, they definitely. I mean, you can say they had a fluke season last year, but right now the division. I mean, it looks all right. Like we talked about the Ravens earlier, they blew that huge lead. Talk about the Steelers. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky, he's a game manager. He might end up getting benched at some point. So we'll see about that.
And we're also letting somebody off the hook.
Who's
Ryan Tannehill. You're not slick, dog.
Yeah,
that was garbage what you threw out there. He got benched for Malik Willis. You stink, dog. I'm not even gonna lie. 2 interceptions against the Bills. They got smoked 7-41. That was
crazy.
embarrassing
That's
fashion,
crazy.
dog. Last year you threw the playoff game, even though y'all lost on a field goal. You couldn't find AJ Brown.
It was his fault, really.
It was his fault. No, it's not even. No, really, it was his fault.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just hot trash. I gotta say, bro. It's just a horrible day, and I hope you get shipped off. Send him to Detroit. Pack him up. Get him out of here, bro. And Derrick Henry, he ain't looking too hot either.
He's
looking like age caught up with him.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 200 pounds. I mean,
they trucking him now.
Yeah.
They trucking him.
He was stiff-arming people a couple years ago. We'll see what happens. I think he could end up leaving at some point. I mean, he could impact another team, but I mean, I don't know. He's getting older.
I just think that run as being like that head and shoulders above all the running backs, that stuff is done.
Yeah, it's over. Running backs' lifespan really lasts way longer than any other position. Like you have a good 5 to 6 years. Try to get that contract. Yeah, like you look at Ezekiel Elliott, he was dominant for like the first 3 seasons. Now the past like 2-3 seasons, he just looked mid. I mean, Tony Pollard really looks better than him right now. A lot of people like that. So I just think that like when you get a running back out the draft, that's when they're at their peak, really. You know?
Yeah, but Tannehill and Kirk Cousins, dog, y'all better start looking for new jobs.
You know, I love the points y'all brought up, and I'm glad we were able to cover. It was a great week of football, and we were able to cover a lot of it. Again, you could have a whole show just dedicated to the NFL, but we are going to move on to our next topic. Pretty controversial one: the WNBA versus the NBA. You know, it's talked about so much in the basketball community. So tell me, what does the WNBA need to do? Possible moves to sort of catch up to the NBA, or even sort of get close to catching up?
I think in a sport like basketball, where like catching up to the NBA, you said, a sport like basketball, it's almost impossible for, and I'm not trying to like be disrespectful here, but like a sport that relies more on skill versus athleticism to catch up to another league that relies more on athleticism. You know, you're gonna see windmill dunks in the NBA pretty more frequently than you're gonna see in the WNBA. You know, a dunk is an accomplishment in the WNBA, and that's impressive to me. I'm not trying to, hate on that. But I think the real issue of the WNBA is the lack of stars. They don't have real stars, and that's not to disrespect the Candace Parkers, the Skylar Diggins, the Aja Wilsons, Breonna Stewarts, Diana Taurasi, and so on and so forth. Also, shout out to Sue Bird. She just retired. Great career, Hall of Famer, legendary in basketball. But the problem is, their stars don't break outside of the sports field. For example, look at Lonzo Ball and LaMelo Ball. Hell, the Ball family in general, they're popular. You know, they were popular before they even got to the NBA because of their social media presence. And I think that's because they were marketed very well, not only by their father, but also by the league. Whenever Lonzo and LaMelo play each other, it's a primetime game. They put it on national television. You know, it's very featured around. But the problem in the WNBA is their stars aren't popular outside of the sports bubble. And even in the sports bubble, how far are they really going to break into that? So I think they really need to get stars in their league, because the NBA went through the same thing. They lacked a lot of stars in the 70s outside of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was dominant, but even some years wasn't making the playoffs. But then Magic and Bird came in. You know, they kind of saved the NBA from going out of business potentially. So I definitely think that the lack of stars is a big issue, and if they can market themselves better, I definitely think that's something they can change going forward.
AJ, your thoughts?
That's true, absolutely. And people like to bring up the revenue things. Like, I mean, if more people are watching the NBA like 1,000% of the time. We talked about this before. The WNBA finals was the same game. I mean, same day as the NFL games, NFL Week 2. Like, I'm gonna watch football 1,000% of the time, not 100, 1,000%. So I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I like to watch WNBA, you know, like during the summer, because that's when their season really takes place. Just watching stuff casually, but like at the end of the day, I mean, they're gonna have to transform some stuff. We talked about, you know, different players coming out of college, potentially Paige Bueckers from UConn, who's a bucket. Caitlin Clark, she's different, pulling up from the logo at Iowa. So when they're in the WNBA, I think I'll be tuning in a little bit more, because they're like the next generation, like they're around our age.
You gotta get rid of that rule though.
What's
That
that
one
other
and
one?
done
Oh yeah, they need to. I mean, they don't even have one and done. They have to wait 3
Yeah,
years.
they have to wait 3
and then a
years.
lot of them just go all 4 years because I mean, what's the point? Might as well get my degree.
Get my degree and
yeah.
get it.
So I mean, I think that's unfair. Like we talk about Paige Bueckers, like her first season, and now she suffered 2 major injuries. She's gonna be out for this year. She's not gonna play until 2023. She'll be a senior then. So I mean, she's gonna have to spend all 4 years. But I think when she gets in the WNBA, it'll be more entertaining. But like, they're not making a lot of money at all. Diana Taurasi, like she's arguably the GOAT, one of the greatest players of all time in the WNBA. She only gets paid like $228,000. Now we talk about only get paid, like that's 6 figures, but like compared to the NBA, Steph Curry, he's getting paid $48 million a year. Like that's insane. The drastic difference.
You know what's crazy though?
What's that?
When it comes to the WNBA, I won't even lie. When it comes to like the payment gap, that's just something that over time you're just gonna have to adjust to.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when they make when their league takes off eventually, because I do believe it will take off. Someone's gonna have to just come in there and be dominant.
Right, like you said.
Like someone's gonna have to come in there and put up like Will Chamberlain numbers. Because
Exactly.
like even something like their highs and lows with their numbers, it's nothing compared to the NBA.
Right, like the best players are averaging like 19, 20 points
Exactly.
a game. Yeah,
You need somebody to come in and just average 30.
Right, exactly.
20 rebounds, something just crazy, out of this world video game 2K type of numbers, because that's what it takes to really like transform the league, you know, and then maybe they can change some of the rules to accustom some of those players more. But I definitely think they lack stars, and that's not to slight some of the semi-stars that they have right now. But they need some real star power to bring attention to the product and marketing them better.
Exactly.
The fact that they had a game on Thursday
Thursday
and Sunday,
yeah.
and it's their finals during Thursday night football, primetime football games. Right. I believe there were 2 games on, not even just 1 game, 2 games. So I have the option to watch Ryan Tannehill fold, Kirk Cousins fold, or the WNBA finals. Yeah, I love the WNBA,
Still watch football,
but those are primetime football games.
Still watch football.
We all know football's the most dominant sport in this country.
And you can say something about them trying to put a game on Saturday. College football is back, so it's hard for them to even compete with that. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, we'll see what happens over time. Like you said, they just need someone to come in and dominate.
I agree.
All right, well, y'all made some great points there, talking about the WNBA and NBA, because it's a topic that's just so much widely discussed in the basketball community. But we need to go into our third and final topic here. It's going to be a pretty fun one. YouTuber boxing, such a loaded question. So tell me, what are y'all's thoughts on YouTuber boxing?
I think it's purely for entertainment purposes. I think that really it's kind of smart. You look at the Paul brothers, what they've been able to do. I mean, obviously they take themselves serious as boxers, but I mean, I don't. A lot of people watch their stuff. I mean, if you watch their stuff, you're feeding into their gimmick. I don't watch it, but I think it's really respectable what they're doing. They're trying to get money. The people that they fight, they're also profiting off of this stuff. And I've even seen Jake Paul on First Take before. So, I mean, First Take is a real sports talk show. So, I mean, you got to respect. They're getting up there, getting their name out, getting their stuff out there. They're trying to fight real celebrities, real boxers. So, I mean, it's respectable, but you won't catch me watching it. But, I mean, I like watching boxing occasionally, but like, I'm definitely not going to watch some amateurs like them. But, I mean, entertainment-wise, I respect it because everybody's trying to get their latest, their paper, their cash. So, I respect it in my opinion.
I respect the hustle.
I mean, you might not be watching it, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm
got
not
it.
gonna lie. I've known about the Paul brothers for years. I mean, these guys were YouTubers. Never would I have thought they would have became boxers, though. Especially Jake Paul. If you actually go back, these guys were on Disney Channel.
Yeah, they were.
And now they're boxing and things like that. I just think the real problem is that they're getting some people that are not legitimate. Like there's no reason why Nate Robinson should be in a boxing ring. Yeah. And I think that they've influenced this wave of now like celebrities want to be like live their boxing dreams. And at the end of the day, I know Jake Paul has been training, like I think it's been the last like 5-6 years he's been training, putting in work. He's been putting in the work. I give him all the credit for that. But if I take the next if I take the next 10 years to train every second of my life, Floyd Mayweather could take the next 10 years off and he'll still rope a dope me as if I'm some child. These guys have been doing boxing their entire lives, so I don't look at the legitimacy of YouTubers and think that it hurts actual boxing unless real boxers box them. And I think that's the one thing that puts a ceiling on it. But now you see this wave of celebrities like Adrian Peterson. He just boxed Le'Veon Bell, got knocked out. Nick Young just got knocked out as well. You're seeing a lot of celebrities now trying to, like I said, live their boxing dreams, because you see a guy like Jake Paul boxing Tyron Woodley or Nate Robinson, and now he's about to box Anderson Silva. I know he's also called out like Canelo and Tyson Fury. There's no way those guys are gonna box him, because now you're gonna bring real legitimacy to what they're doing, and it's a nice cash grab. But at the end of the day, it's not really worth it. This is kind of like WWE. These guys are like the villains. They're like the bad guys. You know, you're just waiting for somebody to knock Jake Paul out. And it's crazy because once he gets that ultimate cash grab, who's the real loser? Honestly, it's not you. It's not him. It's you because you paid to watch him. You know, Floyd Mayweather says it all the time. People are mad at him for not knocking people out, but at the end of the day, the spectacle of Floyd Mayweather is who's going to be the one person to beat him. Even if he doesn't go out there and knock him out, he goes 10 rounds to the person, full on out. Guess what? He got paid, and he's going to move on, and that's another dub on his record. You know, so who's the real loser in the situation? Because it's not them. They're getting paid millions for you to watch and complain on social media about them and keep making them more relevant and richer. So who's the real loser in the situation? It's not them. I think the real credibility at the end of the day, you give credibility to whatever it is you're watching. And if you're giving credibility by watching them, then at the end of the day, you only have yourself to blame for them being relevant. So I like what Jake Paul is doing. Money is money, and I find them entertaining when they box.
No, for sure, it's respectable too. Really, it begs the question to see, like, you can just see, like you said, celebrities fighting and stuff. Some of them really have some beefs. I mean, like you said, some of them mostly have, you know, it's entertainment purposes.
This ain't no real beef.
I know, that's not, I mean.
If you got real beef, man, real beef to me is when I see you in the streets, it's on
No,
sight.
I know what you mean, but like, you know.
If I got to organize a real fight, publicize it all, that's not no real beef to me.
That's true too, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're still getting money. But I think
Bag
you can end up
yeah.
seeing, like, the other day we were kidding around talking about, like, what if Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless?
I'd watch that.
That would be hilarious.
I'd
That would
watch
be
that.
so
I would
funny.
too.
Two old, out of shape men
And they've
fighting.
started
Like, come on,
a trend. And what's crazy is
Yeah.
one day that might actually happen.
It
Stuff
could.
like that really can happen. I mean,
It could.
you see a lot of these I would have never thought Adrian Peterson would be in a boxing
too.
ring. Like, this guy was just in the NFL last year, and now he's in a boxing ring?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Le'Veon Bell, just in the NFL 2-3 years ago, now he's in a boxing ring.
Exactly.
You know, now anything's possible.
It is.
You know, tomorrow Obama could be boxing.
That would be hilarious.
You know, so this stuff
And they might get knocked out
limitless.
too, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're still getting money too.
Bag
They
is
might get
bag.
clowned on the internet, but I mean, hey, they're still getting cash.
Bag
so.
is a bag,
Yeah,
dog.
exactly.
I can't hate on it.
Gotta chase it.
Absolutely. And the future of YouTube boxing, I know you sort of covered it already. Where does it go from here?
I think there's a future for it still. I mean, like you said, I mean, people are always going to want money. So that's the thing of it, the entertainment purposes of it. I mean, they're
It's
just
only
going to
the
keep
beginning,
going.
dog. I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
Hey, when PewDiePie gets in there, Mr. Beast gets in there, all these other YouTubers get up in there, that's even more revenue because they're even
They
bigger
get
than Jake
paid.
Paul, and they're going to get paid even more, if I'm being honest. So it's only going to go up from here. Like, I think Deji, he's trying to fight Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather, and honestly, I genuinely think Floyd Mayweather kind of, I wouldn't say put it on the map, but he kind of helped them advance further than it ever was because not only did he fight Logan Paul, but he also fought Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor is not a boxer. You know, that was kind of a cash grab celebrity boxing match if you really think about it. Floyd was already retired, came out of retirement just to school this guy. And granted, kind of looked actually better than a lot of people thought he would look because he's not a real boxer. If he actually dedicated time towards being a boxer growing up, then hey, who knows what his real ceiling could have been.
Absolutely.
But it definitely started with that.
Absolutely.
When you talk about the future, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about this, but like, say like 20 years from now, the Paul brothers, they have a lot of money, you know, a yacht and everything. They're running their own league.
Yeah.
And then like YouTube, I mean, YouTube would be old by then, but what if there's a new platform, a new league that they make? That would be crazy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. I wish we had more time, but thank you so much for watching. All of us here at CoogTV hope that you enjoyed watching these two heavyweights discuss the hottest sports takes. Once again, my name is Cullen Watkins. Thank you so much for watching, and go Cougs.